Let's see about all right. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show. Okay. All right, everybody. Turn this off. And I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna start doing all this stuff. Grab my pencil. A couple things to note. As I was outside with baby girl, a couple things to note. I noticed that today is a perfect time to, ponder other moments. For instance, it's been 5 years next month since my mother passed away in November. Because of November of 19 was a very tumultuous time for me. I was very close to my mother. Still am very close to my mother. Even if she is in heaven, which I wholeheartedly believe. And um it, each passing day doesn't get easier. It does not get easier, but I'm learning to live with it. I really am. Baby girl turned 6 years old this month on the 7th. Because I got her a year before my mother passed away, and a year after, about a year, about a half a year, 6 months after um it was the first year of being here. So technically, that's 6 years, and then 7 years we've been in this house. I've been in this house. And then technically next year, next October, will be 30 years I've lived in this mobile home park. Off and on, but I've still lived in this mobile home park. I've seen a lot of changes. A lot of changes. Not just with this mobile home park, but just in general, this area. I've seen a lot of developments, a lot of businesses have come and gone. You know, if you're familiar with the area, down the street here where you have the Weston Plaza, um, not the little plaza off of where I live, but the plaza itself, where Domino's and that new eatery that opens its doors, side doors, like a garage door, but nicer. That wasn't there before. It was, I think it was like a diesel auto place to fix trucks. And and this was all that area was the just the business itself, along with the what you call it, the land, the driveway, gravel itself, along with how we used to go into Rib Mountain, where all of that was an actual lane of traffic. And it was interesting to me because it's like all of that is greenery and foliage, and and now and before that, also was where we had the Snake Bridge, you know, and now it's off of 17th Ave. Sorry, I'm also playing with David there. She wants her ball. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. But my point being is that there's a lot of changes, a lot of developments. Can I say progress? I don't know. But nevertheless, we continue to forge on. There we go. So anyway, so what I was thinking about going to do, number one, is what I'm gonna do is uh my pen name is Cass Kelly. My baby girl's name is Cass. My name is Kelly. And so my pen name for anything that I create, I publish, will be under the pen name Cass Kelly. Why? I guess I don't take myself too seriously. I really don't. And I don't think too much of myself. Not to say poor pity kiddo. No, none of the sort. But I don't have a whole lot of credibility. I'm just me. Where'd it go now? Where'd it go? It's right there, you stinker. But some authors write under their acronyms like V.E. Schwab. I'm going to write under Cass Kelly. She's the love of my life, which is right over here. Be done with it. So, what I plan to do, this is 20 chapters right now of my book, my third book, Ice is Back. And with having said that, the first two books, I'm going to be doing the second developmental edits, and then the copy line edits. And then after that, my goal is to the first of the year publish all three of the books. And if it's not going to be me narrating, I want to hire somebody that I really like how they narrate. They're out in New York, and I told a friend of mine that this afternoon. Yeah, this afternoon. And they happen to be a voice actress. So there hasn't been one narration that I did not like. She goes live all the time on TikTok. Amelia Hugh or Amy Higgins, is it? Anyhow, that's the one person I'm thinking about possibly narrating my books if I don't do it. And there's plenty more coming after this series. Again, this series just basically came from a spark of thought and feeling of not liking where you work, not liking how you're treated, not liking pretty much anything about it, except pretty much collecting a paycheck, and just swallowing your pride, swallowing anything that's relative to you to make you a better person. And that's that. So the first book that I wrote, and I'm going to do the second set of second set of developmental edits is 6 Degrees. The second book is and what I'm doing is a second round of developmental edits is Abby, with a not subtext, but subtitle 25. because she's 25 years old, and I got the idea of her having like on your cell phone, like 25 missed phone calls. But nonetheless, that's what it is. And the third book in the series, third and final book in the series is Ice is Back, which is what this is. So without further ado, that's a little bit back on what this is going to be, what this is about. And then also, I wanted to mention, hold on a second. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I also wanted to note before I start this. Where is it now? I forgot what I was going to say to you guys now. But let's dive in, shall we? I started doing a little bit of it already, but it doesn't hurt to go back. It really doesn't. And thank you for whoever's watching. I have the live chat commentary down here. And so if you want to say something, say something. Otherwise, let's begin, shall we? Chapter 1, Echoes of the Past. The attic air was thick with dust and secrets. Mandy Johnson, her dark hair tied back in a messy ponytail, crouched among stacked boxes and forgotten furniture. Her fingers trembling as she pried open yet another cardboard container. At 15, she was studying contrasts, a child on the cusp of womanhood, innocence warring with a burgeoning awareness of the world's complexities. Come on, she muttered, rifling through old papers and faded photographs. There has to be something here. For weeks now, Mandy had been sneaking up to the attic whenever her parents were out, searching for any clue about her grandmother Amanda's past. The woman had been gone for 5 years, but her presence still loomed over the family, an unspoken shadow that colored every interaction. Mandy's hand brushed against something cool and metallic at the bottom of the box. Her heart raced as she pulled out a small ornate key. It was old, its brass tarnished with age, but the intricate design of its handle was still visible, a stylized snowflake. Where's the key? Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Ice, Amanda whispered, running her thumb over the design. She had heard that name before. Whispered in heated arguments between her parents when they thought she was asleep. Was this the key to unlocking the mystery of her grandmother's past? The sudden slam of a car door outside Mandy had made Mandy jump. Her parents were home early. Quickly, she pocketed the key and began shoving things back into the box. Mandy, her mother's Mandy, her mother's voice drifted from downstairs. Are you home? Coming, Mom. Mandy called back, her voice cracking slightly. She took a deep breath, trying to calm down her racing heart, and made her way down the attic stairs. In the kitchen, Abby Johnson was unpacking groceries, her movements sharp and efficient. At 45, yeah, at 45, she was still striking with the same hair, intent and intense eyes that Mandy had inherited. But there was a weariness to her now, a tightness around her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and constant worry. There you are, Abby said, glancing up as Mandy entered. Can you help set the table? Your father will be home soon. Mandy nodded, moving to the cupboard to grab plates. She laid them out. She studied her mother surreptitiously, searching for any resemblance to the grandmother she barely remembered. Where were there secrets hidden behind those familiar eyes? Mom, Mandy began hesitantly. I was wondering if we could talk about Grandma Amanda. Abby's hands still on the groceries. What about her? She asked, her voice carefully neutral. I just, I feel like there's so much I don't know about who she was, about what happened to her. Don't you think I have a right to know about my own grandmother? Abby turned, her expression a mix of pain and frustration. We've been over this. This is past is past. Your grandmother. She made choices that affected a lot of people. It's better to focus on the present, on our family now. But that's not fair, Nanny protested, her voice rising. She was family too. Too. How can you just pretend she never existed? Or not pretending anything? Anne snapped, her patience wearing thin. I'm trying to protect you, to give you a normal life without the weight of the front door opened. Abby's words. Drake Johnson's tall frame filled the doorway. His expression darkening as she sensed the tension in the room. What's going on? He asked, looking between his wife and daughter. Nothing, Abby said, turning back to the groceries. Mandy was just asking about Amanda again. Drake sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. Mandy, we've talked about this. Some things are left better in the past. Mandy looked between her parents, frustration and hurt building in her chest. Fine, she said with her voice cold. Keep your secret, but I'm not going to stop looking for answers. She stormed out of the kitchen, leaving her parents exchanging worried glances in her wake. As she climbed the stairs to her room, Mandy's hand closed around the in her pocket. Whatever her parents were hiding, she was determined to find out the truth about Amanda, checking to make sure that it's going to click with the last name. The woman known as Ice. Okay. Chapter 2. Fractured reflections. Unspoken burdens. Be good. Be good. Be good. Be good. The Sunny Pines assisted living facility always smelled of disinfectant and fading memories. Abby Johnson walked down the familiar hallway, a carefully constructed smile on her face as she nodded to the staff. Her weekly visits to her mother, Liz, had become a ritual, part duty, part connection to the past. She both cherished and feared. Liz was sitting by the window when Abby entered, her once vibrant hair red, now with soft silver. She turned as Abby approached, her eyes lighting up with recognition. Abby, dear, Liz said, reaching out a hand. I was hoping you'd come today. Abby leaned down to kiss her mother's cheeks before taking a seat beside her. How you feeling, Mom? Liz waved off the question. Oh, same as always, but never mind me. Or, yeah, but never mind me. How are things, how are things with you? How's my granddaughter? Abby felt her carefully constructed facade waver for a moment. She took a deep breath. studying herself before responding. Everything's fine, Mom. Mandy's doing well in school. She's growing up fast. The words felt hollow, even as she spoke them. But but Abby forced her smile to remain in place. She wouldn't burden her mother with the truth. The late night arguments, the tension that filled their room or their home, the way Mandy's eyes burned with a familiar, dangerous curiosity. Liz studied her daughter's face, her gaze sharp despite her years. Is that so? And how are you handling it all? I'm fine, Abby said quickly, perhaps too quickly. All, we're all just, we're all adjusting, how it is with teenagers. Liz reached out, gasping Abby's hand with surprising strength. Abby, she said softly, you don't have to pretend with me. I can see the world in your eyes. I don't see it, hon. Where's the ball? Oh, there's the ball, right by my feet. Or they were before. Okay. Oh. Mm. Abby felt her composure crack just for a moment. She looked away, blinking back the tears that threatened to fall. It's been challenging, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Mandy, she's asking questions about Amanda. They The name hung in the air between them, heavy with unspoken history. Liz's expression darkened, the lines around her mouth deepening. I see, Liz said, her tone carefully neutral. "Uh, And how are you handling that? I'm thinking about revising that, that, that little section. Abby struggled to find the right words to express her sleepless nights. Was history destined to repeat itself? Liz squeezed her daughter's hand, her eyes full of understanding and concern. Listen to me, Abby. That's that's that girl of yours. She has a right to know her history, but you also have a right of responsibility to protect her. It's a delicate balance, only one that only you can navigate. Abby nodded, grateful of her mother's words, even as she felt the weight of the responsibility pressing down on her. I'm trying, Mom. I really am. I know, dear, Liz said softly. Just remember, you don't have to carry this burden alone. You have Drake, you have your family, and you have me, for whatever that's worth these days. Abby felt a rush of affection for her mother, mixed with a tinge of guilt, not being more open. It's worth everything, Mom. I don't know what I'd do without you. As if on cue, Abby's phone buzzed with a text from Drake. How much longer? We need to talk. Abby sighed, squeezing her mother's hand. I should go, Mom. Drake's waiting for me. Liz nodded, her eyes never leaving Abby's face. Remember what I said, Abby. Be careful, but be honest with yourself. If no one else, that's the only way to weather the storm. I guess it is working. Um, a piano. I forget what her name is, but the lady on TikTok that plays piano and stuff. She actually, told her audience, being a part of her audience one time, I was actually watching her, and she told me to get something off of Amazon, which I did, and believe it or not, it's helping with the this. I don't lose battery power. Nice. Um, Drive home was a blur of conflicting emotions for Abby. Her mother's words echoed in her mind, mingling with memories of Amanda, both the good and the terrible. By the time she pulled into the driveway, her head was pounding with the sort of maintaining her composure. Drake was waiting in the living room, his face set in lines of worry and frustration. How's your mother? He asked as Abby entered. She's good, Abby replied, sinking onto the couch. Perceptive as ever. Drake nodded, moving to sit beside her. And you? How are you really doing, Abby? Gentle concern. The gentle concern in his voice was her was her undoing. The gentle voice in his the gentle concern in his voice was her undoing. Abby felt very her Abby felt her carefully constructed walls crumble and the tears she had been holding back all day finally spilled over. I'm scared, Drake, she admitted, her voice breaking. I'm scared of Mandy for us. I don't know how to protect her from the truth without pushing her away. I don't know how to be the mother she needs me to be. Oh, perfect. Drake pulled her close, his strong arms and comforting, his strong and comforting, his arms strong and comforting around her. Well, we'll figure it out together, he murmured into into her hair. We always do. As they sat as they sat there holding each other, neither of them noticed the shadow that passed by the living room door. Upstairs, Mandy pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding. What truth were they trying to protect her from? What storm were they preparing to weather? This I want to actually expand on, this paragraph. In fact, just so I don't lose it. There we go. In her room, Mandy pulled out the key and she had under the attic. Whatever the secrets her family was keeping, she was more determined than ever to uncover them. For better or worse, she would learn the truth about yep, about Ice, and decide for herself what kind of legacy she wanted to inherit. The path ahead was unclear, fraught, and hidden with dangers and unspoken fears. But the Johnson family faced this new challenge. One thing was certain: the echoes of the past would not be silenced so easily. Chapter 3: Words of Discontent. The droning voice of Mr. Patel faded into the background noise as Mandy Johnson fingers absently traced the outline of the key, hidden in her inner jacket pocket. Her eyes, unfocused, stared past the smartboard filled with the dates and names from a history she couldn't bring herself to care about. In her mind, she was back in the dusty attic, heart pounding as her fingers closed around the cold metal of the key. In fact, I'm going to put here. Um, there we go. I'm just doing a little bit more things to make it more real instead of it being abstract. 2 weeks ago, motes of dust stands in the thin shaft of sunlight piercing the gloom of the attic. Mandy's breath caught in her throat as she pried open another cardboard box. Its contents a jumble of old photos and faded documents. Her search had been fruitless so far, yielding nothing but mothballed clothes and outdated knickknacks. But then, as she shifted aside a stack of yellow envelopes, she saw it, a small ornate key, its brass surface dulled with age. The moment her fingers touched it, Mandy felt a jolt of something. Recognition? Excitement? Fear? Don't growl at me, it's by you now. It's by you. Get it. The moment, okay. She couldn't quite name the emotion, but she knew deep in her bones that this key was important. The intricate snowflake design on its handle seemed to whisper of secrets long buried of a past her family seemed determined to keep hidden. Amanda, Mandy whispered, the name of her grandmother, feeling foreign on her tongue. She had so few memories of the woman, just fleeting impressions of a warm lab at the scent of lavender. But in those memories, there was always undercurrent of something else, tension in her parents' voices when they spoke of her. Hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when Mandy entered the room. This key, Mandy was certain, was the first step to unraveling the mystery that shrouded her grandmother's life, and by extension, her own. Miss Johnson? The voice of Mr. Battelle cut through Mandy's reverie like a knife. She blinked, suddenly aware of the expectant silence in the classroom and the many pairs of eyes fixed on her. I'm sorry, what was the question? Mandy asked, heat rising in her cheeks. Mr. Patel frowned, deepened, the disapproval clear in his voice. I asked you to name the major three consequences of the Treaty of Versailles, but clearly your mind is elsewhere today. Mandy fumbled for an answer, acutely aware of the snickers from her classmates. Germany had to pay reparations, she offered weakly. That's one, Mr. Patel said, his tone making it clear that he expected more. When Mandy remained silent, he sighed. Perhaps you'd like to stay after class to review the material you've missed while daydreaming? The bell rang before Mandy could respond, saving her further from embarrassment. As she hastily shoved her untouched notebook into her bag, she could feel Mr. Patel's disappointed gaze following her out of the room. In the hallway, Mandy let out a breath she didn't quite realize. she'd been holding. The key felt heavy in her pocket, a tangible reminder of the secrets that consumed her thoughts. She was so lost in her own world that she nearly collided with Alex as she rounded the corner to the next class. Whoa! Earth to Mandy! Alex said, steadying her friend with a hand on her arm. Where are you? Where's your head at? Where's your head at? Randy managed a weak smile. Sorry, just thinking. Alex brought further concern. You've been just thinking a lot lately. Everything okay? For a moment, Mandy considered telling Alex everything about Kate, her suspicions, the growing certainty that her family was hiding something big. But the words caught in her throat. How could she explain something she barely understood herself? It's nothing, Mandy said, forcing a lightness into her tone that she didn't feel. Just some family stuff. We know how it is. Alex nodded slowly, clearly not entirely convinced. Yeah, I know, but you tell me if something was serious, right? Of course, Mandy lied. The weight of the key seeming to grow heavier with each untruth. Come on, we're going to be late for bio. As they settled into their seats in biology, Mandy could feel Alex's worried glances. She did her best to focus on the lesson, scribbling notes about cellular respiration that she knew she'd never reveal. All the while, her mind kept drifting back to the key, to the secrets it might unlock. When the lunch bell finally rang, Mandy felt a mixture of relief and dread. Relief to escape the suffocating atmosphere on the classroom. Dread at the prospect of forced socializing as she and Alex made their way to the cafeteria. The corridor buzzed with excited chatter about weekend plans and the upcoming school dance. So are you going to Tyler's party on Saturday? Alex asked as they claimed their usual table. Mandy shrugged, picking up at her limp salad. I don't know. Haven't really thought about it. Alex's brows shot up. Seriously? It's supposed to be the biggest part of the year. Everyone's going. I guess I'm not everyone, Mandy muttered, immediately regretting the bitterness in her tone. Before Alex could respond, they were joined by a group of their other friends, all buzzing with excitement about the party. Mandy, you have to come, Jade exclaimed, sliding into the seat across from her. I heard Tyler. I'd heard Tyler's older brother is getting a keg. It's gonna be epic. Mandy forced a smile, trying to muster even a fraction of her friend's enthusiasm. Maybe. I'll have to check with my parents. As the conversation swirled around her, filled with talk of outfits and who might hook up with whom, Mary felt the profound sense of disconnection. She nodded at appropriate intervals, laughed when expected, but it all felt hollow. Her mind was elsewhere, consumed by thoughts of brass keys and family secrets. Hello, Earth to Mandy! Jade's voice cut through her thoughts. Did you hear what I said? Mandy blinked, realizing she'd completely zoned out. Sorry, what? Jade rolled her eyes, but her tone was more concerned than annoyed. I asked you if you wanted to go shopping for party outfits after school, but if you're not feeling up to it, thanks, but I can't today, Andy said quickly. I've got family stuff. As her friends resumed their chatter, Mandy caught Alex's worried gaze. She knew her behavior was raising red flags, knew that her increasing detachment was obvious to those who knew her best. But how could she explain that suddenly all of this, parties, dances, gossip, felt trivial compared to the mystery that consumed her thoughts? The key in her pocket seemed to pulse with a possibility, with promise of answers to questions she hadn't even known to ask. As the lunch period wore on, Mandy found herself retreating further into her own thoughts, the excited voices of her friends fading into a distant hum. She was standing on the edge of something big. She could feel it. And no matter what it took, she was determined to uncover the truth about her grandmother, about her family, and about the secrets that had shaped her entire life without her even knowing it. Chapter 4. First Steps. This is getting good. What is this? Hey everyone, I like gloves. What? Do you have any disposable gloves? Plastic gloves, rubber? All the above, Sam. Yeah, I have plenty of gloves. Are you in need of gloves? If you're still watching, that is. Are you in need of gloves? You're funny. I usually use them for other things, like I don't know, because I have to usually cath because I have urinary retention. I cath about 3 to 4 times a day at least. So yeah, fun times, huh? Yeah. All right. Now where are we? 9. So this is 10. The spray can felt foreign in Mandy's hands. Its weight both exhilarating and terrifying. The brick wall of the abandoned factory loomed before her, a canvas waiting to be marked. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat a warning she chose to ignore. Come on, Mandy, Alex whispered urgently from behind her. Someone's going to see us. Let's go. Mandy's fingers tightened around the can. No, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. I need to do this. She raised the can, the rattle of the ball bearing inside, echoing the quiet night with deep breath. She pressed down on the nozzle. Bright red paint hissed onto the wall, formed jagged lines that gradually took shape. A snowflake, just like the one on the cake. As Mandy worked, memories of her grandmother flooded her mind. A warm laugh, the scent of lavender, and something else. A glint in her eye that Mandy had never understood until now. Was this how it started for her, too? Mandy, seriously, we need to go. Alex's panicked voice cut through the reverie. I'm going to give you a bit. A little bit of a break. Headlights swept across the wall, illuminating Manny's handiwork from a brief moment before she and Alex ducked behind the dumpster. The car slowly passed in the silence that followed. Mandy could hear Alex rabbit heart breathing. What the hell was that? Alex demanded once the coast was clear. Since when do you do stuff like this? Mandy stared at her friend, seeing the fear and confusion in her eyes. For a moment, she considered telling Alex everything about the key, her suspicions, the growing certainty that her family was hiding something big. But the words caught in her throat. It's hard to explain, Mandy said finally, her voice low. I just needed to do something. I to feel. I don't know, something. Alex's expression softened slightly, but the worry remained. Mandy, if something's going on, you can tell me. You know that, right? Mandy nodded, guilt twisting into her stomach. I know. Thanks, Alex. Let's just go home. So far, this is turning out to really be good, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments so far what you think about the um about because I think on the fourth chapter. Tell me what you think. I just needed to do something, to feel. I don't know, something. Manny nodded, guilt twisting in her stomach. I know, thanks, Alex. Let's just go home. Okay. As they walked back in intense silence, Mandy's mind raced. The thrill of what she'd done still coursed through her veins, mixed with the gnawing sense of shame. What would her parents think if they knew? What would her grandmother have thought? At home, Mandy crept silently up to her room, the smell of spray paint still clinging to their clothes. She pulled out the key from its hiding place, studying the snowflake design, and she just recreated on the factory wall. Who were you really, Grandma? She whispered to the empty room. And who am I becoming? Downstairs, Abby and Drake sat at the kitchen table. Their faces blurry. She's changing, Drake. Abby, her voice barely above a whisper. I can see it. And I don't know how to stop it. Drake reached across the table, taking his wife's hand. We need to stay calm. But we can't. We can't let history repeat itself. We can't protect her. Abby met her husband, tears shimmering in her eyes. But how? How do we protect her from a past she doesn't even know about? From a legacy that isn't in her blood? The Johnson family dinner had never felt so suffocating. Mandy pushed her peas around her plate, avoiding her parents. Concerned glances, the weight of unasked questions hung heavy in the air. So, how was school today, honey? Abby's voice cut through the silence, forcefully cheerful. Mandy shrugged, now looking just fine. Just fine? Drake paused, his foot pausing midway to his mouth. Anything interesting happen? Okay. Goodness gracious, cats. Where is it now? Oh, here it is. Where are you? No, that's not the ball. Oh, here it is. I found it, kiddo. I found the ball. Oh, hold on, kiddo. Let me get the ball for you. There you go. Okay. Well, Abby said brightly, I was thinking we could go through some some of the old photos albums this weekend. Maybe you would like to see some pictures of your grandmother when she was young. Mandy's head snapped up, hope flaring in her chest. It was quickly extinguished by the tightness around her mother's eyes. The forced smile that didn't quite reach them. Why now? Mandy asked, unable to keep the suspicion out of her voice. You've never wanted to talk about her before. The silence that followed was deafening. Drake cleared his throat. We just thought, well, you're getting older now. Maybe it's time you knew a bit more about your family history. Mandy's eyes narrowed. What aren't you telling me? Nothing, honey, Abby said quickly, too quickly. We just wanted to know where you come from. That's all. The lie hung between them, as tangible as the uneaten food of their plates. Mandy stood abruptly, her chair screeching against the floor. I'm not hungry, she announced. I'm going to Alex's to study. She was out of the door before her parents could protest, their worried murmurs following her into the night. Now, standing before the factory wall, Mandy felt a strange sense of calm settle over her. This was right. This was necessary. Come on, Mandy, Alex whispered urgently from behind. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Just one. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. This is 11. This is 12. Okay. This is 13 then. The book starts with 1, right? Oh, I'm going to put the pen back on. As they walked back in the tense silence, what the fuck? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Okay. We parted ways at the corner of Maple and Oak. Alex giving Manny one last concerned look before heading home. Manny watched her friend disappear into the darkness, feeling a pang of loneliness. How long would it be before the weight of a secret drove them apart completely? Instead of going straight home, Mandy found herself wandering toward the old come-and-get-it convenience store. It had been years, closed for years, ever since the unsolved murder of its manager. As kids, they whispered ghost stories about the place, daring each other to touch its graffiti walls. Now, standing before her, Mandy felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. Had her grandmother really been involved in what happened there? And if so, what did it mean? What did that make Mandy? A flicker of movement in one of the boarded up windows caught her eye. Mandy froze, her heart racing for a moment. That she could have sworn she saw a face, older, blind, but with eyes that mirrored her own. Grandma? She whispered, taking a step closer, but the face was gone. It had been there. If it had been there at all. Annie shook her head, trying to clear it. She was letting her imagination run. I like this. I like this a lot, actually. Little stinker pie. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? I don't see it. Little stinker pie. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I guess that one person left too. Bye bye. Don't even think about it, little stinker pie. No. Oh, where is it, kiddo? It's right there. Right there. Oh, that's not on the mm. The room seemed to spin around Mandy. The inner pocket felt like it was burning the hole through her jeans. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Well, 13. So this is 15. It's getting good. 15. In that moment, standing in the living room with a weight of unspoken truths pressing down on her, Mandy realized that the simple act of spray painting a wall had set in motion events that she couldn't begin to comprehend. The past was catching up to them all, and she was at the center of the storm. As her parents began to speak, their voices low and filled with a mixture of fear and resignation, Mandy closed her eyes. The image of the snowflake she painted burned bright in her mind, a symbol of the legacy she was only beginning to understand. Whatever came next, there was no going back now. The first steps had been taken, and Mandy Johnson was about to learn just how deep their secrets went. It is technically the what chapter? I think the fourth. Is it the fourth chapter or fifth? I don't remember because I didn't write on here. All right. So technically, this is the next chapter in question. So this is the fifth chapter. Yep, this is the fifth chapter. 5. All right. The living room seemed to shrink around Mandy as her parents' words hung in the air. Heavy and suffocating, each revelation about her grandmother felt like a physical blow, leaving Mandy breathless and dizzy. Her grandmother was involved in some dangerous activities. Her father, Drake, said, his voice strained. She made choices that put her at odds with some very powerful people. Well, that's for damn sure. Mandy's mother, Abby, reached out, her fingers trembling. We wanted to protect you, sweetheart. We thought if we if we kept you away from all of that, you'd be safe. The scent of her mother's familiar perfume, once comforting, now felt cloying and oppressive. Mandy's chest tightened, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The walls seemed to close in. The family photo of Nando morphing into accusatory faces. I can't, I can't breathe, Mandy choked out, stumbling to her feet. I need air. Mandy's heart leapt into her throat. You know my grandmother? Oh, wait, where is this? Oh, okay, this doesn't make sense. Oh, perfect. That's good. Good. Okay. Manny's heart leapt into her throat. You my grandmother? The woman's lips quirked in what might have been a smile or a grimace. You you could say that. Nice, Amanda. She was complicated, brilliant, dangerous, and the best friend I've ever had. I thought a thousand questions crowded Manny's mind, fighting to be asked. But before she could voice any of them, the woman pulled something from her pocket, a small worn notebook with pages yellow with age. This was hers, the woman said, pulling it out. It might help you make sense of things. But be careful, kid. There are people who kill to keep the past buried. Oh, this is nice. Mandy clutched the notebook to her chest. Its weight both comforting and terrifying. In the distance, she could hear her parents calling on her name. Their voices tinged with panic. The responsible thing would be to go to them, to, to let them explain further, to try to understand. But the notebook burned in her hands, promising answers to questions she hadn't even known to ask. The key is in her pocket seemed to pulse with an energy of its own, urging her towards what? Before she could second guess herself, Meg took off running again. The come and get it star loomed ahead, a hulking shadow against the night sky. As she drew closer, the hairs on the back of her head stood up. She was the movement in the was that movement in the window a flicker of light where no light should be? The boarded up door swung open in her touch, hinges groaning in protest. Mandy hesitated on the threshold, every instinct screaming at her to turn back. But the pull of answers, of understanding was too strong to resist. She stepped inside the musty air thick with dust and secrets. Her phone's flashlight cut through the gloom, revealing overturned shelves and debris. Each step stirred up cloud dust, making Manny cough and her eyes water. Oh, that's cool. No one's watching now. Have a good day, all. It's getting good. In my opinion, it's getting good. Hello? She called softly, her voice swallowed by pressure silence, and she moved deeper into the store. Oh, that's, oh, I like that. Wow. Wow. I'm only going to the 6th chapter, and this is mwah. That's how good it is, in my opinion. Wow. Unreal. Don't even think about you little stinker pie. Little stinker pie. Little stinker pie. My little stinker pie. What time is it? Oh, it's been an hour. Yeah. Should we call it a night? I wanted to give you a shower. Yeah. Should we call it a night, guys? Hmm? Everybody meet Cass. Mm-hmm. Yes, the love of my life. The yin to my yang. The first part of Kelly, the first part of Cass Kelly, if you will. Yes, I think I'm going to call it a night, and I think I'm going to give Cass Marie a shower. Yes, I do. 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 Mm-hmm. Let's give you a shower, shall we? Mm-hmm. Let's give you a shower. Uh-huh. Let's give you a shower, sweetheart. Mm. Brrr, brrr, brrr. Sail away, sail away, come sail away with me. Ah, come sail away with me. I could be a little dork too. Hey, Cass, you want to say anything to the audience? Come on, you want to say anything to the audience? Here's a microphone. Do you want to say anything to the audience? Blah, 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 blah. No one's watching anyway. Ah, I'm a little punch happy. I don't care. Anyway, you guys have a terrific night. I want to go take Cass for a shower so she can get cleaned. Okay, dokie, Smoky. I think that would be best. Yes, I get it.